glorious. In this video, I'm going to take a look at the Brothers AM, a collaboration between Chase Bliss and Analog Man. So there's going to be a lot of hype surrounding this pedal. In the fully recyclable box, you get a beautiful manual, which reminds me of the Grail Diary, a sticker, safety instructions from Chase Bliss, and of course, you get the Brothers AM. Now, this, the Brothers AM, is not just another Overdrive, it is something special with heaps packed into a pedalboard-friendly size box. It's got 6 knobs, 4 3-way switches, 4 jack sockets, and 16 dip switches up there, and there are even internal trim pots. It's not the same as the original Chase Bliss Brothers pedal, where there were 2 independent drives and you could blend between the 2. This Analog Man and Chase Bliss collaboration, well, I'll show you. You've still got 2 independent drives, but that's boost, overdrive, and distortion on both channel 1 and channel 2. And then channel 1 is going into channel 2, although you can operate them independently. And then we've got a 3rd drive circuit in the middle, which is a treble booster. And that could be set to either off or a classic Rangemaster style treble booster, or something that's more bright and forward. Now, this is a review of the pedal, not a how-to guide, but due to the nature of its complexity, I'm going to have to explain the pedal as I go along. And believe me, if you get this pedal, this is your Bible. It is phenomenal. There's suggestions in there. There are tone types that you can have. And I spent a long time perusing this after just plugging the pedal in and having a play and thinking, that's a lot of switches. And don't forget that on the back, we've got 16 dip switches that I will go over in a little bit. But first, I'm going to do my top 5 tones, thereabouts, to demonstrate what the pedal can sound like, all the way from transparent boosty stuff to all the way distortion and possibly fuzz. So let's get to those top 5 tones. I'm going to swap to a Strat style guitar and get something very low and very transparent. So that's adding just a nice little bit of boost. There's not a lot going there, it's just kind of compressing a bit. It is a bit louder. Hit the delay off for a moment. And the Brothers AM off. So now it's just tone shaping, and using that tone there, I can shape even more. It's nice, it's subtle. I don't think that it's doing a lot there. Well, it is doing something, it's doing it well, but it doesn't really demonstrate how crazy the pedal can get. So let's kick this up a gear. For this one, I've got both channels set to boost, and the knobs are the same, but channel 1 is high gain, and channel 2 is low gain. And you can set either channel to high gain or low gain using these dip switches on the back. I'm still being quite conservative with the gain, which is horrible for me. But now we know the difference between high gain and low gain boost. But now I've got to go onto the overdrive setting. You probably noticed the difference in volume between those two. And the more you get into distortion territory, the more the pedal compresses, and then you have to compensate with the volume. So if you're running into this blind, be careful, because you can be on this distortion setting and then flip it into boost. And if you start off with a normal volume distortion, flip that into boost, and you're going to get ear-splitting territory. So there is that to remember about the pedal, that you have to take some responsibility for your volume levels. Also to remember, if you're stacking 1 into 2 rather than just using 1 or just 2, volume 2 acts as a master volume. But if you then do that, you could suddenly get a really loud channel 1. So you can also set volume 2 to an overall master volume using the dip switches on the back. But I'm not going to do that. But you can if you want. Right, overdrive. In fact, I'm going to switch guitars to something with humbuckers. I want to feel a bit more crunch. That's another one of those tones that it doesn't necessarily sound like an amp, but it just sounds good. Sounds like a recorded amp. That's brilliant. I am so into that. Wow. It's a lot of fun, and I'm only on the one side. What if I stack that into the boost? There's a little bit of fizzy fuzz there that I'm not loving. Kind of sitting on top. Is that my guitar? I think it is. Yeah, there's a fizzy. All right, forget what I said there. It's me. Sorry. Now, let's go into just one side, distortion. This needs an SG. Let's go with this then. There it is. Right, it's still a little bright for me. In fact, you can add... Oh, the tone there is also presence, and you get the presence setting by holding down the knob and then turning that. And by default, it's on 0. it's already quite bright, and I guess that's the nature of it, because it's a pedal designed to cut through the mix, and on its own I'm making sounds that I like with just the guitar on its own. If I was in a band situation, then of course you'd want this to cut a little more. I'm going to flip channel 1 back into low gain mode, so you should see that turn to green. There we go. And now we're both low gains. In fact, let's put channel 2 into high gain mode. Oop. It goes from quite bluesy to quite chuggy quite quickly. There's so much going on in this pedal that it's hard for me to pack this all into a digestible video. What have I not done? I've not done the treble booster. I'm still scared of it a little bit. Let's see if... I think it likes neck pickups on treble boosters, just to stay away from anything too ear splitting. Ah! Can't remember the last bit. Probably not a good idea to play the whole thing. Yeah, that's a treble booster. I'm still scared of it. It's super freaking loud. I get the feeling that no matter what I do with this pedal, someone's going to say, why didn't you do X or Y? And the reason is I can't do everything, although I want to. When I get a sound like that, I just want to stay like that forever. That's inspiring me to actually want to learn how to play like Brian May. In fact, I have a coin. It's glorious. I'm going to have to see what happens when we put both distortions on at the same time. Oh, it's hissy. But let's take the treble booster off. Frightened is not the word. Oh no, I don't like that. Okay, I found something I don't like. Again, I'm happy to just keep going. Let's put this back to boost and just have the low gain. Oh, does the treble booster work on its own? Hang on. It does not. So treble boost, no. You can add the treble boost to a channel, but you can't just have a treble booster, which I guess makes sense, but it is a bit disappointing. I'm super frightened of that. All right, I'm going to play something simple and switch you through all the different types of boost through to overdrive and distortion with some treble booster thrown in, and then the red side as well. So this side first, and then a bit of red. That might not be interesting musically, but I think it is interesting to see what the pedal can do. Let's have a bit of clean. That's divine. That is beautiful. Right, I'm a bit worried about the treble boost. This is classic treble booster. And then even more bright, in your face. Now, the treble booster, as I said, I think earlier, imagine this in a band context. Imagine I have a full group of friends, real life friends, and they were playing music with me. Yeah, imagine that. And that's where that would cut through. Let's talk about the fact that you can control this pedal from an external source. Now, just here is a socket to plug in an expression pedal or a CV thing. And then on this side is MIDI and an external switch. And according to the manual, if you want to do the MIDI stuff, you need a Chase Bliss MIDI controller thing, which I don't have. But what I do have is this nifty little sort of expression pedal in a jack socket thing. So I'm going to plug that in and see what happens. You're going to want to know what this is, of course. So it's from a company called 𝗬𝗙𝗢𝗪𝗥. Anyway, they're from Spain. I'll put the link in the video description. And if I plug that in there, I don't know if I need to reset the pedal or if it's just going to accept it. But then I need to go into the back to the dip switches. Oh, it does work. Now, by setting the dip switches on the back, you can control any of the knobs on the top with an expression pedal. And I am aware that I've set up another knob on top and not an expression pedal. But for ease of use, so you can see it on this camera, if I put the first dip switch down, that will set control of the volume of channel 1. And if you apply that technique to the gain knobs and the tone knobs, you've suddenly got even more versatility. And if that isn't enough for you, of course, you've got control by MIDI. And with that, you can do all kinds of things, plus save presets. However, the pedal comes with 4 presets built in. And if you're wondering why I've been avoiding this switch all video, or if you haven't noticed it, this is the preset selector. And currently, in the middle of this 3-way switch, it's set to live mode, so it's whatever I've got going on top. If I push it to the left, that's preset 1. Push it to the right, that's preset 2. Now, if I flip the dip switch just down there to the bank one, That's now preset 3 and preset 4, and the middle is still the live. So you've got 4 presets, 2 of which are easily accessible. The third and fourth one, I guess you could access, but not that easily. While we're on the subject of these dip switches, the first 2 will set either of the channels to high gain or to normal gain. The second 2 will set these bypass switches to momentary, so you can have a momentary boost, for example. Then you can also link the tone and the presence together. And then you've got a master volume, which turns volume 2 into a master volume, and then the bank will get those other 2 presets. So I've just switched it, and that is set to the normal toggle, but this one is momentary. Now, this is the first Chase Bliss product I've ever reviewed on my channel, and I'll be honest, I was intimidated because it's got all those dip switches and all the knobs and all the toggle switches and some internal trim pots, which I don't think anyone should touch, by the way. And yeah, I was a bit scared of it because I thought, how the heck am I going to get inside all of that? So what I did was just sit down with it and play about with it, you know, get creative. And I really, really enjoyed most of the sounds that I got into. And when I didn't enjoy a sound, it's because I pushed something too far, normally the treble booster, or something just was too toppy. That's for cutting through. With the manual, I read through that and I was still intimidated, but the manual is actually an enjoyable read rather than an instruction manual, you know, like a modus operandus. This thing is interesting and exciting to read, and it's colorful, and it's part of the design, it's part of the package. And I guess I'm into the Chase Bliss kind of ecosystem now. And someone said to me a while ago, once you've played one Chase Bliss pedal and you understand it, you should understand the rest. And I'll have to put that to the test, but I now get the dip switches and everything. It makes sense. So if all of this is a little bit intimidating for you, bear with it. If you've enjoyed the sounds and you've watched other videos and you've played it yourself even, bear with it. It's a fantastic pedal. And in being fantastic, it's also not budget, which I don't think you'd expect from Chase Bliss, plus all these features. It's coming in at around 400 notes. I don't know what that is in your regular currency, but it is a serious pedal that reflects all the features. So if you are a fan of the Marshall Bluesbreaker / King of Tone pedal and you can't get your hands on a King of Tone pedal, this might be the next obvious replacement, because I think the waiting list is now 6 years for an Analog Man King of Tone. And I still have a fair few years to go, and I'm not sure I'm going to need it after this, which I feel terrible in saying, because this has the sounds that I want from it. And I'm not sure I need the actual King of Tone now. I don't know if Analog Man have shot themselves in the foot there, but I still kind of desire the Analog Man King of Tone, but for practical reasons, this one makes far more sense. Simply put, I can see this pedal ending up on many pedal boards around the world, and come December, I could see me calling this the drive of the year, which is pretty outstanding to say that in April. But this goes all the way from that transparent, just the edge of breakup boost, through crunch, to fuzzy distortion, and all of them sound pleasant. Plus you get the treble booster, which can make things a little bit raspy now and again, but as long as you're the one that's in control and you know what you're doing, you're going to have a lot of fun with the Brothers AM. Big thanks to Chase Bliss for sending this out for review. The comment section is down there should you want to tell me what you think, and the subscribe button is down there as well if you want to use it. All right, I hope something good happens to you today. Bye-bye!